Hey guys, KalelSoups808 here. Today we're doing a review of the 1-to-1 life-sized Guyver Dark Hero bust and Guyver Unit from Elite Creature Collectibles. I am here, I promise you. Holy sh**. So if any of you don't know who Guyver is, if you're unfamiliar with the character, what are you playing at? Get on it, get looking it up, it's awesome. The movies are a bit of a tongue-in-cheek guilty pleasure of mine. I'll speak more about those in a second, but my main love is the manga, the original manga, and the 2005 anime remake, the best versions of the Guyver. But this is the movie version from Guyver Dark Hero. This box is just ridiculous, it's huge. And something this gigantic needs to come in serious packaging. So it came in the really heavy duty, high quality styrofoam here. Unlike a lot of the sideshow stuff, the flaky cheap stuff, this is really solid. As you can see, it comes with the certificate of authenticity, Guyver Dark Hero, and it's signed by Yoshiki Takawa, who is the creator of the character, the Guyver, and Steve Wang, the art director for Elite Creature Collectibles. And Steve Wang was actually, I believe he was the writer and director of the movie as well. So I believe he owns the rights to the character. And here he is in the box. He comes in 3 parts, technically 4 if you count the AC adapter for the light up feature. There's the main torso and head, that's all one portion. And then there's the base, which is a Guyver Unit base with the Guyver Dark Hero logo. And then his horn, which goes on his head with a strong magnet. So without further ado, let's get him out of the box and take a look. So I'll start by showing you the base. This is, it's pretty simple base, and it's not kind of overwhelming. It's based loosely on the Guyver Unit. I'm going to show you that in just a moment, so just stay tuned for that. So the Guyver Unit itself is kind of bluey in color and looks really organic. This does not, and I think that's deliberate to have some separation from the armor, because the armor is the same blue organic makeup as the unit, for obvious reasons. The Guyver Unit, by the way, if you don't know, it's a device that attaches to a human or any host really, and coats it in this this organic suit of armor, this alien armor, and turns you into like an unbeatable fighting killing machine. That's what the Guyver is. So this is loosely based on that, and it's good because again it's like black, grey, and silver, and it doesn't detract from the actual piece itself. As you can see, it has the Guyver Dark Hero logo on the front, and we'll just spin it around. And it has the little silver orbs, which the metal has, which the unit has rather. And then on the actual unit, all this stuff in between the panels here is more organic. It's supposed to be like a living being, but again, they've just gone with like a grey silver effect. And then there's a port here with some connectors. That's where the actual unit connects. It's one big peg there, you place the torso in, and that's what connects into the base, because the base has a light up function here, and you plug the AC adapter into there and then switch it on and off like this, and that's what gives it the light up function. The eyes light up and the control medal on his head. The control medal is the bit that controls the Guyver, and it's basically a computer that tells its host what to do. So there you go, nice and simple base. And this is the underside of the base with the edition size on it. There were 1,000 of these made, mine is number 63. And without further ado, let's get on to the guy himself. And I had to move him to the side, otherwise you just can't see me. Not that you really want to, but whatever. So first of all, I'll start with the sculpt on this thing. It's fantastic. It just looks exactly like the Guyver from the movie. My one nitpick would be, I think on the movie his eye lenses are a little bit bigger. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think they are. I think they're a bit more striking. I always liked when a character's eyes are a bit wider. Like I like that on Spider-Man as well. I don't like the narrow eyes. I like it when he's at like the McFarlane version when his eyes are nice and big. And that just gives a better effect for when they're lit up as well. But that's a super small nitpick because every other detail about it is absolutely bang on. While we're on the subject of the eyes, it's got like this kind of like hexagonal honeycomb effect within the eye that gives it this real sense of depth, and they look fantastic lit up at night. This here in the middle of his head, that's what I was talking about, that's the control medal. That's the computer that controls the suit and stops it from overheating and regulates it. Then he has all these other orbs which all have different functions. Like in the movies it's not such a function, it's kind of there for aesthetics, but in the anime these orbs here, he's got like this sonic emitter where he can like send out like sonic blast waves and just obliterate things. These orbs here, these are like antennae that on this organic material here, they kind of like move backward and forward. And that's like a sensor, so if he's facing that way and he's got an enemy approaching from behind, one of these will just kind of move and let him know there's something there, and he'll turn around and he'll kick the shit out of it. So the control medal does light up. There's a ring around the medal that lights up when you plug it in and switch it on with the eyes. As you can see, the suit of armor, it looks organic because it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a living being. It's alien. And it's got all these like cracks in it and these little dimples that give it a real sense of depth. And so this is all kind of like a tealy blue kind of color. And then it's got like a black wash in the cracks and that to give it that depth. And those dimples and cracks, they go all the way around, just as they do in the movie, all around the back of the helmet and around the armor. So you can tell it's not just like an Iron Man suit of armor, this is like a living, breathing entity that's surrounding its host. And then in between, or underneath the armor and in between the panels here, you've got this kind of, it looks like muscle fibers almost. But again, that's the organic nature of the thing. And it's all like blacks and purples to just really make the blue pop and to give it an extra bit of depth. These things here, if you're not familiar with them, these are like air vents. So they kind of like spew out air when he's like overheating. If he's fired his Mega Smasher, which is a weapon, he opens his chest and fires out these lasers. That's his like ultimate weapon. But if he's done that and like his system's overheating, air will come out of these vents to cool him down. But like I love the concept of the Guyver. Like when I was a kid, there was the manga series. I think there was 12 videos, like half an hour long each, 25 minutes, half an hour, and I used to collect them. They were released like every week or every couple of weeks, and they were really cheap, but really, really cool. And then in 2005, there was a re-release with like 20 some episodes. And I thought that was, some say it's not as good as the original. I like it as much as the original, just because it goes into the story a bit more, the animation's a little bit better. They develop some of the characters a little bit more. So both are fantastic. I think the original manga is on YouTube now, you can watch it for free if you're not familiar. Anime is definitely the way to go. Like I said, this is from the movie. There were two movies. There was one in I think 1991 or 1990, 1991, I don't know. Somewhere around that time, and it was called Mutronics in the UK, or it was just called The Guyver in the US and North America, I believe. And that starred Mark Hamill. And that movie, when I loved it at the time. When I look back at it now, it's super cheesy and almost like a bad comedy. But then there was, in 1994, there was Guyver Dark Hero. That was my favorite movie of the two because it was a little bit more serious. There was some comic-y elements in it. but the martial arts in it was fantastic. It was the first movie I ever saw where there was like wire fighting, and they made the martial arts look a little bit more sci-fi. So, and that was before like The Matrix and stuff like that, so it kind of blew me away as a kid. And so I have this real attachment. I used to love the old martial arts movies anyway, with Van Damme and Seagal and all that kind of stuff, but this had a sci-fi element to it. So I have a real emotional attachment to this movie. As you can see, this horn, I think they call it here, this part, that just comes out like that on a strong magnet. And then the slots right back in. That's very strong, but it has to be. This thing is just, every part of it is heavy. You can tell it's just really solid, high quality stuff. And I do wish these tubes actually came away and just went in with magnets, because it makes me nervous. Like when I was pulling it out of the box, you think, oh, these could be very easily broken in shipping. So that kind of makes me nervous. I wish they'd have taken those out, so you could just like put them back in and wrap them individually. So now I'll show you the Guyver unit itself from ECC. So here's the art box, if you like, for the Guyver unit. It's done in the style of like a silvery attaché case with Warren Scientific Supplies, Kronos Corporation. The Kronos Corporation, they're the kind of bad guys in the movie and in the anime. They're the evil corporation that are trying to obtain the Guyver units for their own personal use. They want to find these units, which are kind of like standard issue to the aliens. They were their like weapons for war. So yeah, they're the bad guys. And then, as you can see in the box, there's a certificate of authenticity with the edition number on it. Mine's 23 of 300, and signed by Steve Wang. And then this is how it's all set up in the box. So let's get him out of the box right now. So this is the Guyver unit out of the box. It comes separate from the base like that, and you just kind of like plonk it on, and it's the same on both sides. So this here, that's the control medal. Okay, so what happens is, hang on, it's doing something. This has the light up function and also a sound function. So basically it comes with 2 rechargeable batteries which go inside. I'll show you just how to do that in a second. And you can just charge it by plugging a power port into it. And then once it's charged, you can just pull that away and just let it be. So you've not got a wire constantly hanging out of it. But basically, it comes at one of the panels, as you can see, like I spoke about earlier, the kind of organic panels which match the armor. One comes away, it's on a magnet. And then your batteries just go into this little battery port here, and then the panel just goes back on. And then just sits into there just nicely like that. Comes on this nice little stand. It's very, very plain. But just a really nice companion piece to the Guyver. So now I'll show you in a darker setting what it looks like with the light up function and the sound. So the sound it makes is an actual sound bite from the movie. It's the sound that the unit makes when it's getting ready to activate and cling to the human and turn him into the Guyver. As you can see, like I said, these panels look pretty nice. The kind of organic looking, they're airbrushed, just like some of the actual bust is. So here is a wearable helmet I got off eBay a few years ago. And the eyes are red on this one. They're not in the movie, so I don't really know why they put the red lenses on there. It was only a relatively cheap helmet. But as you can see, I think the lenses are very, very slightly bigger than the lenses on the bust. But still, it's a pretty nice little addition to the collection. So if you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that the prime piece, the centerpiece of my collection, is my life-size Terminator endoskeleton. I'll post a link at the end of the video for that one. But this, very easily, this bust is number 2 in my collection. It runs a very close second to the life-size endo, just because Guyver is one of my all-time favorite characters. And they just did such a fantastic job of replicating him. It's very hard to fault this piece. Like I said, if I was being super critical, I'd like the lenses to be a little bit bigger on his eyes, but that's a real nitpick. I'm blown away by this thing. Is just stunning. So like I said, if you're not familiar with the character, go check out the manga, the original manga, check out the anime. It's, if you don't like that, you won't like the movies probably. I love it all. I love Guyver in all forms, and ECC, Elite Creature Collectibles, did a Guyver Zonoid bust. Now he's the bad guy in Guyver Dark Hero, the movie. Basically is a Zonoid, which is like a human that can turn into a monster, like a werewolf or something like that. And then one of these guys gets hold of a Guyver unit, steals it in the attaché case, and attaches it to himself, and he becomes a Guyver Zonoid. So he's got all the powers of the Guyver plus power of this monster. So he fights Sean Barker, who's the hero, the Guyver. ECC did a 1-to-1 bust of the Guyver Zonoid. Stunning piece. I missed the boat on it, and now it's going for just ridiculous money, so I'll probably never own it. Who knows, maybe one day, but it's kind of out of my reach right now. And then ECC also did a Liska bust. Liska is one of the Zonoids in the movie as well. I wish they'd go with a whole line of them and do more, but I don't know if ECC plans to do that or not. So there you have it, guys. The Guyver bust and the Guyver unit. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Are you as impressed with this thing as I am? Do you own it? What do you think? My hope one day is that I'll be able to get the Prime one, Guyver 1 and 3, Guyver 3, pictured on my t-shirt here, is actually my favorite of the Guyvers, so I'd love Guyvers 1 and 3, because Prime 1 Studios did the anime versions in quarter scale, and they're just phenomenal. And if I manage to get those, then I'm going to do a whole Guyver collection video. I've got some other things. I've got some of the original Max Factory figures, which are pretty cool. I've got Guyver 1, 2 and 3, and some other bits of stuff, some models. In fact, I actually have 2 models of the Guyver and Guyver Zonoid, which I built and painted, and I actually did a video a few years ago, so check out my channel for that video. Okay guys, well, thank you for watching. As always, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you never miss out on one of the videos. There's many more of these to come. I really appreciate your support as always, so thanks for watching, and until next time.